Today at Clients, I needed to explain how a software works. And I thought it was a good idea to do the same explanation here today and to try to explain it as if you had to also explain it to your grandma who is 95 years old and who has some concept of a software. And she wants to still understand what is really a software. So let's go to a drawing board and try to make it very simple. Remember, everything in life is simple. So in the classic software, there are three main elements. There is what we call a user interface, right? And the user interface will have all your buttons and all your features that will display text and allow you to do different actions. So you press on this button, boom, something else happens, right? So this is your UI, and you can represent stuff on your screen through, as you know, for example, ChatGPT, a simple text box, enter what you want, and boom, it gives you an answer, right? Pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. Most of softwares do have a user interface for you as a human to interact with the application. But to do that, when you click, let's say, a button, boom, let's say this is a button which will be like submit, there is going to be something happening behind the scenes that you don't see. And what that part is an algorithm. So I'll try to find something that resembles that, but let's say that's going to be an algorithm. So what is that? It's essentially a synonym to a process. So you input something, boom, and the machine crunches it and then gives you back the answer. But sometimes, essentially, you do a request, boom, your request goes into the algorithm, and then the algorithm gives you a response back. So we're gonna have another line going there. So boom, you do a request, the algorithm processes what you want and gives you a response. And so you'll have, boom, here the text, and then response. So input, submit, boom, it sends. Once it's finished the process, it gives you a response. So this algo is like a process. Usually it's just a math formula. And the reality is, we are back. So I'll zoom a little bit. I think that's going to be better. Nice, there we go. But sometimes there's a third piece, and often there is a third piece, which is called a database, a DB. And this is essentially where the data is stored. And the same thing, when you have things that require historical data or data that you do not have and that the algorithm also needs as an input, you'll have your input plus the DB input that will go into the algorithm, crunch that number, and then give you a response. And so that's pretty much it. Those are like the three main elements of a software. And then a software, essentially this, let's say, is one feature, can have 1,000 of different features and inputs and algorithms behind the scenes to make the thing work, right? And I think that's something that explains things very well. And then when it comes to the DB, if we double click on that, you'll have essentially just tables that will have information about, let's say, your order. This is going to be your client. This is going to be your purchase order. This is going to be a receipt. This is going to be a claim. And all those things, they want to be connected and you have relationships, etc. And so you'll know that your order and this belongs to this client and this client made a claim. And then you received the claim, and to do that order, you had to create a PO, etc. So basically you have all your storage of that information within the DB. Voilà. So this is our video in 5 minutes. If you have any question, let me know, but those are basic principles of what a software is. Thank you so much for watching. If you want more videos, I think another video we can do tomorrow is going to be more about the different types of softwares and monoliths, microservices, integration layers, API calls. What are those things? See you tomorrow for that second part. Bye.